Welcome back to another video, my friend. I'm Blake and you're you, and this is Mono White Magecraft in Explorer, and this is my dog Whiskey saying hi, hanging out with me today. So, this is an extremely friendly budget deck. Outside of this one mythic rare land, 0 rares or mythics needed in the deck. Incredibly budget friendly and quite good. So, this deck is all centered around the Illuminator Virtuoso. This is the 2-mana 1/1 double strike out of New Capenna, and whenever it becomes the target of a spell you control, it connives, meaning you draw a card and you discard a card, and if you discard a card that's not a land, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So the whole game plan is protect your Virtuoso, make it huge, deal tons of damage with double strike, and just run over your opponent with the game. We are only running one other creature along with this card, and that is the Clever Lumimancer. Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Clever Lumimancer gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Just a backup to go with the Virtuoso so that you're casting multiple spells a turn. This easily becomes a 6/6 and 8/8 in one turn and absolutely slaps. Now, we obviously, with that, are running tons and tons of cheap spells to pump up or protect our Virtuoso. So let's just start going through the list. 4 copies of Arrester's Zeal. This is +2/+2 until end of turn for 1 mana, and if we cast it in our main phase, which actually we do sometimes, our creature gains flying, and sometimes that's all you need to finish a game is that little bit of evasion. 4 copies of Blessed Defiance. Target creature gets +2/+0 and lifelink, can gain us so much life, guys, and then if that creature happens to die, which we don't want it to, we can get a +1/+1 spirit out of it as a little buff. 4 copies of Defiant Strike. We see a little bit weirdness because I just don't have that many copies, but Defiant Strike is +1/+0 until end of turn. Draw a card. This is mostly just in there to draw a card, but it also gets to trigger that Virtuoso, so it works really nicely as just a 1-mana cantrip. We have 2 copies of Fight as 1. You choose one or both. Target human creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until end of turn. That's the only mode we're going to use since both the Lumimancer and the Virtuoso are both humans. So +1/+1 and indestructible, quite good to dodge those pesky removal spells. 4 copies of Guiding Voice. This is just a simple sorcery, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Very nice, and learn. That's why this deck is in here. We'll go over our sideboard, or that's why this card is in here. We'll go over our sideboard in just a second, but learn is a really good way to also get card advantage and take care of the card draw disadvantage we get kind of naturally by being in white. We have 2 copies of Your Ambushed on the Road. What an amazing name. This can be a kind of bad protection spell, as we can bounce a target creature we control to its owner's hand. So it can protect our Virtuoso, but we do obviously have to put it in hand and give it make it lose all of its counters, so we don't want to use that, but it's an okay backup option. But the main way that we want to be using this card is just simply +1/+3, getting a big butt on either of our creatures, helping it to win a combat. Quite nice. Only 2 copies in there for that reason. Up to the 2-drop slot, we have Flare of Faith. Extremely good. The only part on this that matters is if it's a human, instead it gets +3/+3 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Obviously, that makes sense why this deck is in here. We're going with our 2 humans in the deck. And then Study Break is a tap up to 2 creatures and learn. So we have a couple ways we can play this. One way is to tap 2 of our opponent's creatures and get through on attack that we need, and then we can learn. Or we can also use it on our opponent's instep. We can tap 1 of their creatures and tap our Virtuoso, which triggers the Virtuoso. The tap doesn't bother us since we're at the instep. We get to learn, which is like drawing card, and we get to use the connive Virtuoso to actually draw a card. So Study Break seems weird in the deck because it doesn't seem like you should target your Virtuoso, but actually you can more often than not. And then just following up with a little bit trying to smooth over that card advantage part, 2 copies of Patch Up just in case our Virtuosos or our Luminancers get killed. We can return up to 3 of them. So we could return a combination of 3 with total mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that means we could bring back a Virtuoso and a Luminancer is the normal mode. Or we could bring back 3 Luminancers if it ever came down to it, or just 1 of either one is also fine. Running 22 lands in the deck, I think you could be actually totally fine running all planes, but we do have 1 copy of Amiria's Call just because it's a great card, and sometimes you go into the late game and need an end cap finisher. 2 copy of Sejiri Shelter is actually really good in the deck just because it does all the things you want. It can act as a protection spell, it can trigger the connive, great things. 2 copies of that. 1 copy copy of Access Tunnel just because it's a funny little combo. You can actually sometimes win a game with this in the late game because it is allowed to target the Lumimancer, and then you can pump the Lumimancer and it still stays unblockable. So really funny. Your Virtuoso is probably going to be too big by that point to be used with Access Tunnel, but sometimes you just have a little 1/1, but then you get to pump them even after it's unblockable. Is really funny. 17 lands for this one, and then 1 Eiganjo, just because it can be a kill spell and is just nice, and I've got a copy. So that is the other rare. You could easily cut both of these. I do recommend getting Sejiri Shelters if you're going to try this deck out, but if you want to help me out on this channel, please hit that share button. It's the cool little arrow, and share this deck with someone that you know that might like it. Now let's also look at the end of this video. We're going to take a look at how the video did with some statistics. So if you're interested in knowing how good the deck fared, stick around to the end and we will check that out. But without further ado, let's get into some games and see what the deck can do. Okay, so looking at our first hand here, opponent going first, we really only need 2 lands to play that Virtuoso. It will be slightly risky to play this, but since we've got 2, in case it gets killed, I mean, and since we've got 2, I think I'm comfortable here going turn 1, play the Shelter land, turn 2, play a Eiganjo, and put out a Virtuoso. Or if I'm feeling nervous based on the colors they play, like if they have a black mana open, we could also just play a Luminancer and hold up a protection spell, which is also not a terrible idea. So I am a little nervous here about a counter spell. I feel like that's just what's coming. So let's just bait it out with the Luminancer with any luck here and see if that can fly. Okay, that's fine. We're going to let that go. Also, if they want to shock it, I'd potentially even just let it go because I mostly just care about keeping our Virtuoso alive once we actually get into the game. So that's totally fine. I still think they probably had a counterspell ready for us, but you never know. I think it's okay to play it safe here. So we are playing in ranked. We are in the diamond rank. So these are decks that are no joke and opponents that are no joke. This is actually pretty good for us to see because as long as we draw a land, we get to play the Virtuoso as well as have a pretty good chance at protecting it. So a land here would be really big. We don't hit a land, so we are going to have to take a bit of a risk and hope they don't have that kill spell. But if we can survive even 1 turn here, we might be able to squeak through. Fable the Mirror Breaker is a pretty tough card to deal with just because it can do so much work, but I think we're actually still kind of okay here. If we can get some Illuminator triggers going and draw some cards to get that land going out, I think we will be okay. Now let's see what Logorifin does here. We don't have any mana up to do anything, so we're just going to say no blocks, can't afford to lose anything at the moment. We kind of want both of these creatures sticking around. So they do have 5 mana. That is a lot to work with, so we really need a land here. Okay, that is unfortunate, but I think we can go ahead and attack in and try to get at least 1 trigger on both of these guys going. Let's see, what is my best protection spell? Indestructible is quite good. He could also bounce it, which in that case is pretty bad. But let's start. We're going to play into Arrester's Zeal here and then see if he has anything for us. Now the nice thing about this deck is that it's a lot of cast triggers, so even counter spells have a hard time interacting with the deck, and that is just super good for us. Let's get rid of, what do we not need here? Probably the patch up for now. I don't think we want to keep a patch up. I think we want to keep up as many actual spells as possible. With this deck, you really want to hold 1 mana back for protection pretty much as often as you can. Now, this is unfortunate. That's one of the better things that it can hit. But here's a case where bouncing this card to our hand is actually going to be pretty good because they're probably going to go for exile target tapped creature. And then we are going to do a little protection and actually return the Virtuoso to our hand. We'll get a nice little bit of card draw, and let's get rid of, let's see, let's get rid of Study Break since they're probably not going to have too many creatures for us to interact with here. We'll put down our Access Tunnel. Next turn, hopefully we can get a Virtuoso back down without being countered. Unfortunately, Wandering Emperor is a pretty hard matchup for us since we didn't draw that Hexproof. Okay, they get a counter there. That's totally fine. Give me 1 moment. My dog's barking. He wants out of the room. Okay, I'm right back. Now, let's see. Looks like they attacked there, made a treasure. They've got a lot of mana to work with. That will be a little tricky. So they're probably going to be able to go into Teferi into a counterspell. So that's pretty unfortunate. This will be a hard spot for us to get around. But we'll see what we can do. Hexproof would have been better in that one case with the Emperor. So we had to make some weird plays. But I think we've got some interesting things to do. Let's start off and put some pressure on and try to get rid of this Teferi. If they leave the door open, I might be tempted to double spell on the Lumimancer and just really go all in with this guy and see how much we have a chance to get rid of this Teferi. Teferi's a pretty big problem. Let's start here. That'll give us 3 damage on Teferi. Feels pretty good, I think. If we cast one more spell, we get it. But I also really think we need to get down that Virtuoso to do some work. So let's hope that there's no counterspell, but there probably is, to be honest. Okay. Now, since that's alive, I'm pretty tempted to keep up my indestructible spell. Let's end the turn there instead of Guiding Voice. Let's leave up Fight as 1 and see. I think if we can keep these both around for one more turn, we've got a really good shot, even though they're in a pretty powerful position. Okay, that's fine. I don't think that's too big a problem. You can make another one of those, sure. You're going to get your treasures either way. So I don't feel yet like it's the time to bank on my Fight as 1 just yet. We're going to let this damage go through. Okay. Sure. Yep. You got it.
Let's skip to the good part.
Okay. Let's see what they got for us. I think we've got a decent chance to either clear the board or kill both Planeswalkers here. I think we can hold on to one Virtuoso because we really just need one out to be targeting over and over again. So having one Virtuoso, one Lumimancer is pretty darn solid. I actually think getting a good bit of mana here, I think putting a counter on the Lumimancer is better. Even though we do lose a trigger here, I think overall getting one counter here is really quite solid. I'm actually kind of tempted to take the Probation. We could name Teferi. I think the right play, though, without knowing what's in their hand, is just to take Expanded Anatomy. And I'm not ready to go all in on it just yet. So let's send the Lumimancer there, the Virtuoso there, and see what exactly they have for us. Sure, that makes sense. Very nice, very nice. Good protection for them. See how they block. I don't think I have any trample. Okay, that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and... do we just hold on to these? I might actually just hold on to both of those for the moment.
How long do you want to wait for?
Yeah, they could still have a pretty big board wipe, but I might be interested... what are the chances they have, like, a Shatter the Sky? I think I want to go with another Virtuoso here. We've got one indestructible spell ready to go, ready to protect. I think this gives us a lot of pressure and a lot of ways to play around here. We can start bouncing back and forth between these two. Sure. I think I might go for the KO on that thing. It's doing a lot of work. Oh, I guess we can't do the KO on that. Let's go ahead and block the original of this. We're going to go for this. We'll keep up one mana in case we need to get another spell of some kind. Very good. We will hold on to the Zeal, actually. I think we get rid of this for now. That's fine. Making a lot of treasures, so he's got so much mana, it really doesn't matter at this point, but at least we block the target for it for free, pretty much. That's pretty cool. Whittle him down, whittle him down. Sure, we don't care about that damage too much. So we're already at 11 damage with no spells cast next turn if they don't do anything. I think we go for an Alpha Strike unless they play some major defense here. This also has Indestructible for turn, so that's pretty sweet. Another Teferi, it's pretty good. And with all these treasures, I mean, he's got all kinds of things it can do here. Sure, but does he have anything to stop me from getting through? That will be the question. Okay. Okay. We're going to go for a big Alpha Strike and see what happens. See if we can close it out. This is where the deck needs a little bit of luck. Let's start with the Defiant Strike so we can draw a card. We're going to have a lot of damage coming in, and their cast triggers, which is sweet. We don't need another creature at the moment. That's a good one to draw. Let's do this again. Now we're just bouncing back and forth, trying to get to enough damage. Let's see, what's best? Lifelink, nothing, Indestructible. I'll keep Indestructible and Lifelink. So at the moment we've got 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think we got enough, right? So that's 8 plus 6 is 12. I think we got KO, right? See what they've got. GG. Alright, the deck's pretty cool. I mean, you saw it beating a real, authentic control deck. Let's keep going. Okay, getting into another game. Lumimancer Virtuoso 2 lands is totally keepable, and we're on the play, so that feels quite good. I think we just run this out and start slapping as fast as we can. Hello, B-Maggie. We play against B-Maggie a lot here on the channel. They are playing all the time. So, good luck to you, B-McGee. Good luck to you. I think they were playing this deck yesterday. It is a Grinning Ignis combo that uses things like, what's the word? Collected Company to do a little infinite combo. So, we need to go really, really fast because, I gotta discard something. Let's discard this one. Because they just win by infinite combo. So we're actually going to see if we can just go for the win right here, I think. Sadly, that being that color actually kind of hurts me there. Let's get rid of... We'll keep flying, I guess. Oof, so close. Okay, we put the pressure on. They need the whole combo right now or we probably win. Because this can give us flying. Clutch. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're really only in danger of losing to the Collected Company throwing out the whole combo. So that's pretty cool. I think we just get another win here. Good game. Let's keep going. This deck is rolling. Okay, going again here. Triple Virtuoso, I think is fine to keep. Good luck, mini arcs in the ladder here. Let's see. It looks like they had to mulligan pretty aggressively. At least one mulligan I saw there, maybe 2. So let's see what they are going for here. We are on the play, I believe, which is very good for this deck because you're playing so low to the ground. Ooh, they had to take a pretty rough, pretty aggressive mulligan to 5. That always sucks, but it probably also means that they know what the heck they're doing. So, okay, very aggressive deck we're going to see here, apparently. I think we can handle the aggressive deck just fine. Guiding Voice next turn to learn, I think seems pretty good, starting off right as a 2/2. Actually, it'll be a 3/3 at that point, so that seems good. We also have Lifelink, which is going to absolutely crush this deck, probably. Ooh, and they miss a land drop. This is just probably one of those unfortunate games for them. Okay, they do hit this land, but it is a tap land. They're probably going mono-red landfall, maybe? Okay, not mono-red, it is it? I'm not familiar with why you play the Hellhound and is it? So let me know if you know what that is about. Let's start with Guiding Voice. Let's discard one Virtuoso. I don't think we need 3 of them. Let's just take Expanded Anatomy. And do I care about getting a second one down? We don't really gain much. I think we're better off. Do we have any protection? We don't have any protection spells. So let's just do this to start. And I actually think we just let that happen. Maybe we just take the kill, and then I think... I doubt they could have a big sweeper, so let's just set up a second one in case they have a little snipe spell. Because we don't have any indestructible. So I think we do this. That's what we like. That's good for us. This is good. Now they go land, and that makes sense, so they get the double land. But next turn, we're going to plan to gain a bunch of life, so that's going to be great. Yep, get your double landfall, swing in. Not going to block. No problem, though. And I think we're in a pretty good spot. We've got that indestructible spell, so let's go ahead and attack. Whichever one he doesn't block, we're just going to throw a lot of stuff at. I think having 2 down feels pretty good, actually. Virtuoso is pretty powerful of a card, especially if you're able to protect it at all. So, let's go ahead and go +2/+2 right here, plus that counter. I kind of like tossing a Virtuoso. I think we're aggressive enough here, we get rid of a Virtuoso. Then let's do Lifelink on this one, and I'm not doing Lifelink on the other one because you only get 1 strike that way. Let's see, let's actually get rid of an Expanded Anatomy. I think that's a pretty good card to discard here. Great, we're going to gain a bunch of life, and now I'm feeling pretty good. Access Tunnel might get cut from the deck. There's just times you draw it and you need 1 white pip. So I don't know if I'm loving Access Tunnel. Study Break is going to be sick here. We'll probably win the game. There we go. Let's keep rolling. Okay, now this is actually a hand I think we toss because we don't see any of our creatures, and I just don't think we can do that. We can keep this, though. The question is, what do we toss? We'll keep the card draw, we'll keep the Luminancer, and then I guess I get rid of 1 Defiance? But with the card draw, I actually think we get rid of a Plains. I think 2 Plains is totally fine with this hand to keep. And we're just going to go from there. Oops, let's close that. Let's close this. Nope. Perfect. Nope, not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. And we're going to go Luminancer first. Say go. Next turn, we'll probably just swing in with a Blessed Defiance, gain a little life, put down a second Lumimancer. Shambling Ghast. Not afraid. Not afraid. See what you got, Shambling Ghast. Call my bluff. Call it. Blessed Defiance. Gain a little life. I guess I should have Defiant Strike, huh? That's fine. We want to do this anyway. I don't know if it's good to give them a treasure. Probably ramps them too well. But you go ahead and make that treasure. I'll put out my Lumimancer. And off we go. Yeah, looking back, I would have rather actually played the Defiant Strike there just to draw my card. Set that up. He's probably going to go Burn Spell here. That's actually okay. Let's get that out of the way. We could have protected it if we would have played it a little differently. But with this hand, you know, we don't have super good protection. And as long as we can keep 1 out there, we'll be okay. Now, if he burns this one, then we're in serious trouble because we really need to keep 1. All right, now I should have definitely played it differently looking back. But hindsight is 20/20, and now we are in serious trouble unless we draw something meaningful right away. So, this is going to be an awkward hand and an awkward game, but hopefully this 1 spirit can hold us out until we draw a Virtuoso. But really, we're probably going to take the L because I didn't protect both of those creatures well enough. Ouch, that is going to be backbreaking. I don't know if we can come back from this one, guys. Especially if we don't draw something meaningful. We probably are just going to take the L here. Especially since this is going to deal 4 over here. Yikes. Good game. I think if we don't draw a Virtuoso on this next turn, we've just got to give it up because we're also going to have to get the Virtuoso to 5, which is going to be pretty challenging to do. You know what? I'll give it one more turn because we will probably be able to live with the Virtuoso once, just because we can give it +3 on the toughness. But if I don't draw one right here, we probably lose, but I also probably could have played it a little better than I did, if I'm being honest, because the Lumimancer could have got big enough to be out of shock damage if I would have just slowed down and been a lot smarter, so that's my bad. Okay, I think, yeah, there's just no way we can come back from this much value, right? I mean, they're just going to do too much. I guess we do have a bunch of lifelink if we could get a Lumimancer out there. Shakedown heavy. Yeah, I'm just going to give it to him because I messed that up. Let's try again. Okay, once again, we see no creatures in hand, so we just can't really keep that. Now we've got Virtuoso. That's great. Don't think we need to patch up this early. Let's go ahead and toss that and get into a game here against our opponent, Hoax. Good luck to you, Hoax. I hope you have a good game. Being on the draw is a little unfortunate because you really want to play that Virtuoso turn 2, but then you're at a huge vulnerability point whenever they are able to kill your Virtuoso. Having 2 makes me feel a lot better, but it still is a pretty awkward opportunity for them to just use a kill spell on their turn 3. Okay, Innkeeper, it's probably Teamer Adventures. So we're going to go ahead and hope for the best, put out the Virtuoso. He could just have Bone Crusher Giant, in which case we just get screwed, but I think that's probably what he's going to have anyway. If we get lucky, he'll just play like a Lucky Clover or something. But I don't know if we're going to be that lucky. I only ran this out so fast because I had 2. If I only had 1, I'd actually strongly consider... Ooh, that's pretty good too. So we need to get this to be a 3/3. We'd have to target it with 2 spells. That's not hard. Guiding Voice right away is going to do a lot for us. So we're going to start with the Guiding Voice right here. Connive. Perfect. I actually think I like tossing the Amiria's Call here. Gives us that counter. And then let's just take Expanded Anatomy is another good one to get rid of, actually. So pretty awkward that we don't have a true protection spell here. But this at least can bounce something to our hand. Okay, now, in order to not die, we can do this, which I think is pretty good. Get our toughness up there. Great. Let's toss the Anatomy. Perfect. I think that's all for now. I don't think that benefits us too much to just gain 5. Hope they don't have a kill spell, but 4 mana, they should just have burn spells. So 4 is pretty tough, and we do have the Blessed Defiance, which could get it to be a 5/5. So they're going to have their work cut out for them to remove this thing now. That's fine. That's pretty easy for us to handle. Them drawing cards is a little tough, but hopefully we can just outpace them at this point. Sure. I will take that. I would love to find a 4th land. It's actually pretty good to hit all your land drops, just because you want to be casting so many spells. Just like that. Excellent. We'll connive. We'll toss a Virtuoso, because we don't need 3 of them, I don't think. Get our counter here. Excellent. Let's take... I don't think we'd take that. I think we just take another Expanded Anatomy. And once again, it's pretty good just to... Let's see. We might even be able to draw our flying spell and just go for the win. We'll connive one more time, see if we can't find that. Okay, we don't see that, so we'll just chill here for a moment. Ooh, that makes us unblockable. So we do this, we're unblockable, we become a 9, we have 18 damage there. Oh man, we're 1 land away. Okay, we'll hold on to that for next turn. But right now, we're just attacking. Give me your Love-Struck Beast. Okay, he's actually going to go there. That doesn't matter to me. Smart play, giving us the Innkeeper. But next turn, I believe if we play our cards right, we just get to protect from green, unless he gets out another color, which would be a little sad. But I think we just hang out here, make him think we can protect, and I'm feeling really good about this matchup now. Let's see what they have for us. They're also not able to draw nearly as many cards without their Adventurer out, so even if they're able to do some removing, they're not in nearly as powerful of a position as they were, just because they're not able to cycle through a bunch of cards. I really don't think in green, red, I can think of anything that would be a huge problem at this point as a 7/7, and able to make it grow even more if we need to. 3 damage, sure, they're going to probably try to braid like twice, 3 times, who knows? I think we can make it grow. Now maybe they're going to try to fight, but we can grow twice. So we're going to take 5 more. So let's go ahead and do this. I think we just grow it twice. And we've got to get rid of spells, because we actually need it to be 6, but that's fine. We're actually also going to gain a bunch of life. Let's get rid of this, because I want to keep my protection spell for next turn. And then we do this. We target this, and we give protection from green. We'll go ahead and toss this, because we're exactly at the damage we need. Protection from green means we cannot be blocked. And that is the game. Solo strike, 20 damage. So cool. This deck is sweet, guys. Oh my gosh. It's sweet. Welcome to the post-game wrap-up. We only got 5 games in with this deck. You saw all 5 games because it is a pretty new one, so I haven't really tested it deeply. But just in those 5 games, we went 4-1 in Diamond on Ranked. We only lost once, and I believe that was when we were on the draw. Let's see if we can find that. I thought I just saw that somewhere. Oh, right here. Yeah, on the draw, we played 3 times. We lost 1 of them. On the play, we won both games. You guys saw this deck is actually quite good. So I think, especially for a budget player wanting to grind the ladder, this might be the best deck, or some version of this deck. There's also a green-white version that uses another rare in the 2-drop slot. But honestly, if you just want something really simple, now it does take a little bit of learning to play, and I think as we go back and look at our list, I actually would cut the access tunnel. It did actually create too many awkward positions because you have so many single white cards. You need everything tapping for a white, and I actually wasn't able to access it one time. Also, same thing with a Mirius Call. You just never get up that high. I think Eiganjo is still a good slot for the deck, but really you could simplify things. Just go straight plains, maybe 1 Eiganjo. And the Sejiri Shelter I would absolutely keep. Maybe even bump that up to 3. 2 is a pretty good spot because you don't really want to be playing them on turn 2 or anything. But I think Sejiri Shelter, or maybe another way to get protection in. Patch Up, I think, could also probably be cut for another protection spell. We didn't end up needing to cast Patch Up because mostly if your guys get removed early and then you have to patch up to bring them back, then they're still vulnerable. So I think you just want to go all in on protection. So if I was going to alter this list, I would cut Access Tunnel, cut Patch Up. I would add 1 more Sejiri Shelter. I would cut Amiria's Call for a Plains, and then I would add 2 more cards that could protect and give probably Hexproof. Let's just look really quickly, see if there's anything at the 1-drop slot that could give Hexproof. I think could be really good. Karametra's Blessing right here. +2/+2 until end of turn if it's an enchanted creature or enchantment creature. Okay, that is not quite what we want. You know, I would probably... I don't think any of those are good enough. I would probably just either go Beaming Defiance or potentially even just go Fight as 1 for more indestructible. Beaming Defiance. Actually, let's look at Protection. What about 1 mana Protection? I think you could maybe make a case for Alseid's of Life Stealing, but that doesn't... Actually, I think I would go 2 copies of God's Willing if you've got the rares, and if not, you could go 2 copies of Alseid Life Stealing. So that's the wrap-up, 4-1 on the day. Let me know in the comment section if you made it this far in the video. You are a true hero, and I thank you. But above all else, I hope you have a great day, my friend. I'll see you in the next one.